This is Barnstable Today for Thursday, April 23rd. Welcome aboard. I'm Mark Mumford. And just a quick reminder that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website, town.barnstable.ma.us.
The Hyannisport Golf Club seeks permission to tear down an old farmhouse. That's our focus today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kevin Friel.
Attorney Liza Cox of Nutter, McLennan and Fish and architect Peter Brown made the golf club's case yesterday afternoon in front of the Barnstable Historic Commission.
Historic Commission Chair Barbara Flynn set the stage for the discussion.
I'm opening the meeting of the Barnstable Historic Commission, and we're here to talk about the demolition application filed for 2 Irving Avenue, Hyannisport, the Hezekiah Marchant House, built late 1730s, inventoried but not National Register or Historic District, located within the Hyannisport Golf Course near the parking lot and maintenance building, for those who want to know where it is. And we're to make an initial determination whether it is worth preferably preserved because it's historically, architecturally important or associated with one or more historic persons or events.
Architect Peter Brown, representing the Hyannisport Golf Club, offered his assessment of the farmhouse.
In 2004, the Board of Governors asked me to do an analysis of the building with the notion that it might be converted for housing for employees of the club, seasonal housing for employees of the club. So I did an in-depth study of the building and found that a couple of things. Its location really wasn't conducive to that purpose because it's intimately connected with the maintenance facility for the golf club. Maintenance facility starts at 5 o'clock in the morning of the season, and they're at it 7 days a week. So that was a significant issue regarding the house. The other issue in terms of the location of the house is that it's not visible from a public way, to the best of my knowledge. At any rate, the inspection that I did of the house indicated that it was in significantly poor condition. There have been structural failures. There is considerable infestation of insects in the house, and just general lack of maintenance, deferred maintenance, has put the house into terrible condition. The 4.5 years that have gone by have done nothing, since I made the report, have done nothing but exacerbate those conditions. My recommendation at that time to the board was that the house should be demolished.
Historic Commission Chair Barbara Flynn countered with a potential use for the farmhouse in question.
Well, did I understand you to say you need employee housing?
We do.
And that could not be rehabbed for employee housing? As you said they start operations at 5 o'clock, but presumably the employees should be up and at them by that time too if you're working.
To a certain extent, but they're not the employees that work on the golf course. It's the tennis professional and some of the assistant golf professionals that would use it. And right now, we rent housing. And that's
Elsewhere?
Yes, off-site.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a significant expense. It would be better if we could somehow take care of it on site, but we haven't been able to come up with a viable plan to do that yet.
Well, this housing, if you rehabbed it, would that be good for that?
That would be probably the only reason that I think the club would see to rehab the property.
Well, you need housing, and that looks to be a beautiful house and certainly significant because it was one of the early farms in the 1730 is very early date. We don't have much left from that earlier date.
That's right. That's correct.
If I may make a couple of points. You mentioned that it's not visible from a public way. However, it is the most visible property on that golf course because it sits at one of the highest points there. It can be seen from houses all around that area. because it sits so high. I'm very familiar with the house. Actually used to play in the house when I was a child with the tennis pro, Dick Stimson's daughter. And it's a wonderful farmhouse. I also know that in the 80s, or I don't know how much, to what extent, but there was restoration done on the house. And it was under restoration when this inventory was taking place. I agree with Barbara that I'd hate to see it just torn down just to create more vacant land.
The Barnstable Historic Commission reached the conclusion that demolition of the house will be blocked until a formal public hearing can take place.
On an initial basis.
We deem it importantly associated with historic events, particularly, and historic persons in the town, with a very unique and special architecture. I'm shortening this. It's historically and architecturally important because of its age, its style, and because it has been here for a long time. Okay, do I have a second? Second. All those in favor of sending it to a public hearing?
In the ordinance, I can't help noticing is you have the ability to require a sign be posted on the building of the proposed demolition. Maybe in future on some of these that you're really concerned about, you might want to require that. It's up to you folks.
A sign saying that it's in process and should not
Yes.
be touched? Is that?
No, it's
it
in
should just
jeopardy.
be a notice of hearing for demolition.
Yes, I think that would be very good. The golfers would see it.
Anything
If you
that
could
informs the
place
public
it
is good.
where the public would see it, we would appreciate you doing that, please.
What should the sign say?
I'll make up the sign.
Fine.
It'll be about perhaps
May
big.
I ask, what is the purpose of the public hearing? What happens at the public hearing? What decisions are reached?
We determine whether it's preferably preserved, in which case there's a 6-month demolition delay on it.
We're in an informal session right now. Right. So we're going to move this to an official public hearing.
Yeah.
Is there public notification?
Yes, yes, there will be.
In the paper?
Yes.
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 Do you know yet when that hearing will be held?
No, but Patty will. She'll schedule, and we'll post the, we'll send a legal notice off.
And it has to be done within 30 days or less?
Yes.
So it'll be fairly,
It's
come
fast.
along quickly.
Be at the May
Yeah.
meeting?
You may even be bringing the May meeting forward a week, just to make sure that you meet the timeframes.
And
Yes.
in the interim, if you could arrange a possible tour.
Yes.
Give us a couple of dates where we might all be mutually
Or we could all go together,
available,
possible.
because sometimes that's
It would
beneficial.
help us make an informed decision and might certainly work in your favor.
Yeah, I'll talk to the board and make sure they're comfortable with that, and then if they are, I'll send Jackie some dates that would work, and we can coordinate.
And just for my pleasure, if you could take a look at any possible sites on the golf course where the building might be moved, so that you can still use that land.
Yeah.
That would also...
Please keep in mind that you can watch the Barnstable Historic Commission meetings on demand at the town's website, town.barnstable.ma.us.
Meanwhile, as far as the town calendar is concerned, no meetings tonight.
And just a quick programming note, 1 week from this evening, on the 30th, the State of the Town address will be carried live right here on Channel 18.
It will be broadcast from the Knight Auditorium at Barnstable High School starting at 7 o'clock.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kevin Friel.
We'll meet you right back here tomorrow. I'm Mark Mumford.